What is going on, everyone? My name is Jared, and this week we are back with another list of Cydia tweaks, which I think have really been bettering my iOS experience here on my iPhone 8 Plus. So if you look right off the bat, we have some new icons. So we got a new theme going on this week, and it is called Sentinel. So this is the Sentinel new theme that just came out for Anemone. Anemone basically has two different sets of icons. You have the alt and the normal. So all you got to do that is go in Anemone, hit preview, and then apply. You usually don't even have to respring. And there you have it. So they're kind of nice. They are very similar to normal iOS icons, yet they are just a little bit tweaked and a little bit different. So there's that. And then probably the biggest tweak this week is Call Bar X. So Call Bar X is this new tweak that affects your dialer. So if you saw what I did right there, I double tapped on my status bar. It brings up this little tiny dialer interface, right? So you have everything that you can do. Oops, calling my dad. You can do everything. You can just go see your favorites, which does bring up your full menu. Recents, which will bring up your full preview. Same with contacts. Dialer pad and voicemail should call voicemail right away. And it does bring up that little dialer pad for you if you have your voicemail password. So this is really cool. It does a lot of different things. There's so many settings that you can mess around with, as well as where you want it to pop up. Do you want to pop up top, bottom? How do you want to activate it? So there's three ways you can activate it, which is slide left or right on your status bar or double tap. I feel like double tap is the most consistent and the most nice. It always pops up the first try every time, so I like that a lot. This does also affect when you get calls. And while you're making a call in the phone, when you go to your normal dialer and say if you do dial, I'll dial my office number for you, it'll show up just like that. So it doesn't change anything like that. You can do your Bluetooth menu, all that sort of thing, and it all just pops up and then goes away. So that is super cool. I'll show you some of the settings that you can do. It has a user guide. You can have different styles, concept X curve, concept flat. Let's see what curve looks like. I haven't checked that out yet. You have different app-specific buttons. You know, you can get really, it uses it for FaceTime call. It really does change a lot of how to make calls, and I do really like that. So I am going to do a quick respring to see what that curve looks like. And I'll get to that tweak in just a second rather than going into an app to do so. That is a nice little tweak called Power 4 Options. Okay, so it comes up at the bottom. That's how a curve does. So I prefer just the normal bar. I think that looks better than the concept. You might like the concept. That might look better in the iPhone 10 rather than the 8 Plus here. But it is still a super powerful tweak. I believe it is $2.99 or $3.99 in Cydia. Great tweak. I haven't had any problems with it so far. I have had, not being able to get it to go away a little bit here and there, but that isn't really a big issue. The next, we are talking about another volume hood transformer, I guess you could say. It changes the way your volume and alert sliders look. So as you can see right now, it is just a little bar at top. This gives you a little bit more information than the one I showcased last week or the week before does. That was just a little tiny bar. I think that one looks better for iPhone 10. This one might look better for everything. And it changes based on what you're doing. So if I go into music here and we do a little, oh, gotta make that go away first. It should show up with the song name and things like that up in the top. So it does change if you're doing YouTube or watching YouTube. Anything like that is going to tell you about what it is you're watching or listening to, and in reference to the volume. So I think that's super nice compared to just having no options with that. There is no options to adjust in your settings. It is pretty much just right there. Again, that is in Cydia. A lot of these tweaks that I'm showcasing are from the Pactics repo. So to get that, viewer asked me how to get better CC, better Control Center 11. And that was for the Pactics repo, which is repo.pactics, Pactix.com. That's how you get a bunch of these. There are a lot of the ones that are new for iOS 11. So the next one is something similar, and for those of you who may not have used a Huawei device in the past, this is something that they see on a regular basis. Basically, you can change the way your key press buttons sound when you're calling. So let me crank my volume up and just do a demonstration. So, as you can see, it just kind of gives it a melody. This really isn't a big tweak. There is no options to change. Instead of just doing your normal dial tone, it does give you a little bit of variety there, and just makes it a little more enjoyable. And that should happen throughout. So if I do call bar here, and I do dial, actually doesn't show up in call bar. How about that? But it does just, I don't know, it makes something just a little bit different. The next thing, again, is another simple tweak, which doesn't really change a whole lot about iOS. It's just more of a convenience thing. So if you are jailbreaking, if you are changing things around all the time, rather than going into your settings and having to find a respring, this is called Power for Options. And what it does is your normal power off slider right there. Let me get a little closer. Your normal power off slider, when you press on the button, changes to slide to reboot, safe mode, power off, and respring. So, and your icon on the little slider knob does change to match. So it makes it nice if you do have a tweak that is kind of messing with your phone and you need to adjust it. If you do just want to respring, and if you do just want to restart or turn it off, rather than having to hard restart or anything like that, it's just a quick and easy little tweak, which just makes your life that much easier. So now we're coming into the last couple that are a little different. This is called Stylish 11. So I haven't gotten into this a ton. Again, another tweak, but basically this can tweak a whole lot of UI, different text, page dots. There's seeming to be a lot more of these popping up, these kind of all-in-one sort of deals. Hide app icons, accessory free, change it to square UI, change it to circular rounded UI, which you can actually see in my control center. Everything is kind of circled up versus usually being more of a squarish sort of deal. So there is that. There's a whole lot of different options in here. You can mess around, change basically the look and feel of your device as much as you want, and that does makes a difference. You can really make it unique with Stylish 11. So lastly, this tweak is definitely not new. It's been around for a while. I just don't think I mentioned it in my last video about Cydia tweaks, is Real CC, or Real Control Center. Basically what that does is, everyone knows that your control center in iOS 11, when you hit your Wi-Fi off, it actually didn't turn it off. It just basically paused it. Wi-Fi may be different, but Bluetooth, when you turned it off, it basically kind of just put it in a sleep mode, as you will. Didn't really disconnect and turn it off. So Real CC makes it so that when you press on your toggles, it really does turn it off. It turns 100% off until you turn it back on again, and then it'll work just like it usually does. Makes it nice so you know if you're trying to save battery or something, you turn it off, you know it's going to be off. It's not going to be turned off for a little bit. It's really going to be off. So that is something that I definitely think is useful, and that they should have definitely implemented in iOS 11, and I don't even think they're implementing it in iOS 12. It's just kind of fallen to the wayside as a not useful feature for for us, I assume. Lastly, this is not a tweak. This is something that you can get from ignition.fun, which is where I myself got my Electra jailbreak in the first place. This is another one of those apps that you install a profile for, and this is called Eclipse. So this is a Game Boy Advance emulator. It does emulate some other games too, but as you can see, I have 2 Pokemon games. There's different repos similar to Cydia where you can install from different games. These are 2 not bootleg Pokemon games, but they are ROM hacks. Basically, they are not the original sanctioned Nintendo Pokemon games, but this, just like them, brings up the emulator. You can change the style, you can change your buttons, you can hold it in landscape mode, and there you have it. Your buttons get all faded out. You have your left and right shoulder up here. This is a nice emulator. Android does receive emulators seemingly a lot more. So for iOS to have the availability to play some old games that maybe you're nostalgic for, that you're feeling, it is nice to have. It was very easy. I will show you just a second. You go to ignition.fun. Let it load up here. And then it should be under categories. So under categories, it has Eclipse or emulators. Eclipse is right here at the top. You hit get, and then it will download to your phone. And again, you go into your settings, you accept the profile, and then it gets installed on your device, just like the Electra app did as well. So this, again, is something you can play a whole bunch of different games, whether they be official, hacked, whatever. There's tons of different stuff to choose from, and it's definitely a time killer with maybe some quality games that you might have played in the past. So I hope everyone enjoyed the video. I've been trying to pick out the best tweaks, or at least tweaks that I like and use. Some of them, definitely do things that I don't need. Like I installed a terminal app so I could change my root password, but I don't really think that's interesting for most people, so I don't showcase that. But anyway, these were just some of my favorites for this past week. There's obviously tons more that did get published, but these are just the ones that I felt were necessary to share with you guys. So if you have a tweak that you like that I did not mention, drop it in the comments. I will check it out and see what I have to say about it. So far, the Cydia jailbreak community has definitely kicked it up a notch since they've been kind of dormant for a while with not having a great jailbreak. So it's nice to see them all up and about making some new stuff. Anyway, my name is Jared. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one.